This is going to be your July Cancer eclipse report. We're going to get to the July horoscope in another video. So this particular report about this particular eclipse, I apologize didn't get out sooner, but it is very important. I would like you guys to pay heed to this about what's going on right now. So the first thing is that we have a new moon or lunar eclipse occurring at 10 Cancer. And normally we would think of eclipses as very good things, but in this particular case, it's not so great. One of the challenges that we have with this particular eclipse is that the moon is in its sign of rulership, which should be good, except that all that does is it exaggerates or increases the lunar effects of this particular eclipse, which means that a lot more irrational and emotional, impulsive energy is with this eclipse. The other problem is with a lunar eclipse, the moon is hidden behind the sun. So what that does is it hides or disguises a lot of the processes that we would normally be able to put our point to and identify as the source of something or the origin of something. In this particular case, it's hidden and hidden behind the sun. The sun also symbolically represents leadership, power, and men, and also authority. So we've got a lot going on behind the scenes where matters of power and leadership are coming from. The problem is there may be a lot of emotional or overly emotional, impulsive, irrational decision making that's going along with this. And it's not just in governments, I mean, we'll certainly see it there, but also in our personal lives where it matters of personal power or wielding power in situations is concerned. So be mindful that you don't get triggered into hyper reactive or hyper over the top reactions and responses. If any of you have been noticing in the last couple of days, there's been a lot of really, I wouldn't call it aggressive, well, it is aggressive driving. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it aggressive driving like I normally think of it is, but definitely a source of dominating the road kind of thing. Just some bizarre driving out here. Which is all part of this eclipse, right? So that's this whole emotional like need to dominate, which, you know, for some people shows up in their driving. Now, as this eclipse is occurring, we have Mercury and Mars conjunct in Leo, okay, which would normally give us a very playful, happy, because Leo's a fun sign. Mars loves being in Leo. They're both dry, hot placements, dry, hot planet, dry, hot sign. Mercury being a neutral planet gives us a lot more storytelling and flirty stuff going on, but it is squaring Uranus, which lends itself to even more impulsiveness, right, and risk-taking. And with this particular eclipse, we've already talked about the fact that this whole need to dominate, which is also a very Leo thing, is coming to the forefront. So people who are prone to, in this particular moment in time, issues of power or feeling powerless, needing to prove themselves, feeling like they need to dominate or else they will be dominated. People who feel like they've been under the thumb of the man for a long time, this sort of thing. These are the ones who are going to be the most active right now under this eclipse. Now, the eclipse occurs July 2nd, but it is in effect now, and it's in effect a few days before and a few days after. This is like the hot zone that this is going on. So we're going to be seeing this, and it could pop anywhere along this train of days around July 2nd. So there's that. Now, with Mercury, Mars, and Leo squaring at Uranus and Taurus, we're also going to have a lot less tact and diplomacy and a lot more challenging behavior and a lot more in-your-face kind of flying in the face of convention and not caring who you offend. And also, I even hate to say it, but a little bit of retaliation in here. And the reason I say that is because Leo and Taurus are both fixed signs. They're on the fixed sign axis, right, with Scorpio and Aquarius. And with fixed signs, these are not forgiving signs. They will take their pound of flesh that is due them. Eye for eye, tooth for tooth sort of stuff. So with Mars in this mix, Mars in Leo, right, squaring at Uranus and Taurus, it's very challenging and very domineering. And also the lunar eclipse in Cancer, where the moon, the compassionate side of Cancer, is being hidden or blocked by the light of the sun, which is masculinity and testosterone and power and authority. could be dicey. So if you if you are a man, or if you're dealing with a man, or if you're a woman with a very masculine temperament, this is a very, very important time to control yourself, and try not to be overly challenging to other people, because there's a lot of pushing and pushing back, and this is not the time for that. This is a really tense time on a lot of levels, and a lot of people are reaching their breaking point, which could also be you, but there's no reason you need to break and break everything around you in the process. So understand that you will need to take a breath and take 10 steps back, and maybe even walk away while you're counting to 10, so that things don't get out of hand. The most important thing about what I'm just describing here is that this describes a flashpoint, right? So things will ignite like that instantly. And it's those things where it's like you drop a match into dry tinder in the woods, and then next thing you know, you've got a raging forest fire. So things will literally ignite like that. So don't. It will seem like it literally is always the smallest thing that starts the biggest conflagration, and it doesn't need to be that way. It's just the energy right now is this is what it is. So let's not be part of that problem. Now, while this is also going on, Venus will be leaving Gemini and transitioning into Cancer. And as it goes into Cancer around this time, like around July 2nd, it will hit 0 Cancer, which is the Aries point. And again, very critical degree. So one of the things that we should see are some major events occurring on July 2nd, July 3rd, July 4th, that are pivotal. We should see pivotal things happening. And certainly, in this particular case, well, I mean, I think it has, well, I'm not even going to guess. I don't know. We'll find out what it is. Can't know everything. But this is a very pivotal shift in things. So things that were like literally just balancing on the head of a pin, like they're gonna topple, and now we're into a whole new ball game. All right, we got some big stuff going on with this eclipse. Now, Jupiter and Neptune will both remain retrograde. They'll both remain in their rulership, and they are both remaining in their square aspect. Jupiter has pulled away from Neptune by a couple of degrees, so it's a little easier, or a little less overwhelming to deal with, but it's still tight. It's still there. So, manifesting things, visualizing things, all of these things require more effort and a lot more organization in your thoughts, but they remain very, very powerful. So don't let that go, and absolutely stay focused on the right things and the good things, okay? Because God knows we need it, all right? Also, as this is happening, Saturn and Pluto are, again, still very close to a conjunction. The South Node is there with Saturn and Pluto, and we've got the eclipse coming up that will activate this in another week. I told you guys in the last report, July is hopping and popping like all month long. We are not getting a break. So things to watch out for also at this time is people are feeling really, really stretched to capacity, and hair trigger tempers are a real concern right now, as well as people making retaliatory, exaggerated, irrational responses that are well in excess of the situation. Also, too, things started at this time are not, this is not a fruitful time to begin things. So if you're starting a project right now, understand that the project may not last, or you may need to redo it all over again, and that this could be a result of the project just ending disastrously, as opposed to needing minor tweaks and changes. So if you can hold off on it, try to. If you can't, just understand that this is a very distinct possibility, and it's part of a much larger process. Now, the last thing I want to get into with this report is that while we're going through all this is July 2nd eclipse at 10 Cancer, Mercury will be making its retrograde station right on the heels of that on July 7th. So we're feeling the Mercury retrograde while the eclipse is going on. There's a whole lot of stuff that's happening. It's going to be very hard to clearly identify who is doing what, and where everybody's positions are, and all sorts of very murky and ambiguous and confusing, and a lot of chaos during this week-ish between July 2nd and July 7th, which is just going to raise everybody's anxiety levels. So hair trigger tempers, and lots of like domineering, power behavior and retaliation, and just a whole lot of fear-driven ugly out there, and a whole lot of selfish agenda driven ugly, all kind of concentrated in 1 week. So try not to be part of the problem, and try not to make things more problematic in your own life. So 10 steps back counts 10. All right, so Mercury is stationing retrograde at 4 Libra. It will be stationing retrograde on top of that Mars. Again, more hot, spicy words, hot tempers, short tempers, trigger fingers. A lot of missteps and miscalculations in terms of domination and leadership. So walk softly while you're carrying that big stick and try not to swing it too much. While that Mercury station on Mars is occurring, it will also be squaring that Uranus. So it's really going to emphasize this the push the red button kind of thing going on. This is a tense week. So there's a whole lot of stuff that could literally easily put us in a whole lot of hot water globally and individually, because of rash, impulsive, hot-tempered, hair trigger, quick response, over the top, emotional reactions, and they would have huge repercussions, literally game changer kind of things that all start from one small innocent misstep, or misunderstanding or misbehavior, or misresponse. So July 2nd to July 7th, this is a week. Oh, this is such a week. So I don't want to see you guys get hurt. I don't want to see anybody you love get hurt. So let's all work on being as detached and cool and level-headed as we possibly can be. And if you are in emergency work or you're in crisis work, you should definitely see an uptick in a lot of irrational, crazy making behavior and a lot of dangerous behavior. So do be aware, and definitely you guys be out there, be careful on the job. And that is it for our quick report for these eclipses. I will be back with a July horoscope shortly. Let's just, God knows, let's just get through this. And again, we've got another eclipse coming up in 2 weeks, so there's more to come. July is quite the month, quite the month. All right, if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Remember, if you like, subscribe, share, so you can get the next reports and notices of the next reports when they come up. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Hang in there.